like the present to explore your own backyard. That's how I introduce Nearly 40 on the 37, Triumph and Trepidation on the Stuart-Cassiar Highway. You see, I was about to turn 40, and I thought, well, before I turn 40, what are the things I haven't done? And one of them was explore my home province of British Columbia, further north of Prince George. I grew up on Vancouver Island, and I've visited a lot of places on Vancouver Island, and I've stayed pretty close to the 49th parallel here in British Columbia, but I haven't seen very much of the north of the province. At least I hadn't up until this trip. And I wanted to go up there and explore it on a motorcycle, because I believe a motorcycle allows a kind of connection. It's a form of transportation that allows a kind of connection with the people that you meet, the places that you're traveling through, the natural world that you're seeing. And it allows you, it gives you a chance to step off your bike, and people are genuinely curious about what it is that you're doing, riding on your own on a motorcycle. And so they'll stop and they'll say, "Are you all right? Do you need any help? How has your day been going?" The words of Robert L. Pirsig, you're in the scene, you're not just watching it anymore. It's getting to know my home province of British Columbia, which really was the greatest gift I could have given myself on my 40th birthday. I tend to write in a kind of humorous style, and a very tell-all style. Nearly 40 on the 37 there's really no holds barred. I mean, I take you into my life at that particular time, what drew me back into motorcycling, what made me think, okay, it's a good idea for me to go up and travel solo in very remote places in British Columbia for a few weeks and get to know these places. I'm not sort of backing off from the idea that there was a certain amount of a midlife crisis involved, yes. But there might have been a little bit of feeling like the clock is ticking, you know. And I read a lot of motorcycle travel tales, people who travel around the world on motorcycles, who explore an entire country, who explore entire continents. And in British Columbia, I think there's something for everybody. We have deserts, we have rainforests, we have coastal regions, a vast amount of coastal regions. We have lakes, we have some of the driest and hottest parts of the country, as well as the areas in the country that receive the most rain. We have a varied terrain, a network of Forest Service roads and other back roads that you can explore on Vancouver Island and throughout British Columbia. In Zero Avenue to Peace Park, Confidence and Collapse on the 49th parallel, I took a different direction. I went east, and I tried to follow the 49th parallel as best as I could. It begins from the western side, from the mainland of British Columbia, at Zero Avenue, which is a very odd road in the sense that it is straight as an arrow. It lasts for 30 kilometers, and it follows an undefended international boundary. Starts in White Rock, ends up in Abbotsford. And so I rode this one day. I stopped my Kawasaki KLR 650, and to my right, I could see the farmland in Washington State, and to my left, the farmland in Canada, and there was no more than 4 feet from between me and the border. And I just thought, what a unique relationship to have just an undefended border like this. Maybe I should investigate this 49th parallel, maybe this relationship between Canada and the US. Waterton Glacier International Peace Park. On the Canadian side, of course, is Waterton National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a place that is quite unique in that it's a place where a park spans an international boundary, and also authorities on both sides work together. What a great message that sends out to the world. For the most part, I took the Crow's Nest Highway, Highway 3, from Hope, and made my way east. And where you're not very, very far from the border at all. You're getting very, very close in places like Greenwood, copper mining towns, which have a bootlegging history, which have a mining history, copper mining, gold mining towns, silver mining towns, as you get into the Silvery Slocan area in the West Kootenay. And there I met up with Wes Taylor, who's a Coloradan, and his wife Nancy. Wes and Nancy Taylor I met on the adventure that I wrote about in my first book, Nearly 40 on the 37, and I'm friends with them to this day. And Wes and I said, one day we've got to ride together. So we took the opportunity to, in the Silvery Slow Canyon, we visited silver mining towns, old silver mining towns like Sandon, which has a very fascinating history. Boom and bust mining town, to say the least. Visited places like Kaslo, rode the backcountry up to Trout Lake City, where we filled up our tanks with hand pumped gasoline, and then we went further east. And as a Canadian and as an American, we were at Waterton Glacier International Peace Park together. And it seemed like a fitting place for a Canadian and American to shake hands, to look at our similarities rather than our differences. And I thought it was a very timely conversation to have in this period in our history, in the history of our two nations. I hope that readers of both of my books will get a sense of, exploration being something that they can do as well. It's not just meant to be reserved for motorcyclists. I think having an explorer's heart is something that people will take away from reading my books.